It's really appropriate that we're having this launch here today, specifically in the Shipyard Square, because safety, we know, has always been a really important part of the shipbuilding, the marine industry, the port industry. As was mentioned by Andrew, for 10 years, from 1998 to 2008, I was involved in that sector. I started out as the general counsel, I became the harbor master, and then I became president and CEO. So I really do understand the importance of health and safety, and I do understand the dangers and challenges associated with working in this sector. People who build ships face a number of safety hazards. Thinking about working in confined spaces, the same thing happens in a port too, especially when you're stuffing and destuffing containers. You can have back injuries, you can have susceptibility to ergonomically related types of factors, force, repetition, and not so much here, but definitely on the East Coast, the cold temperatures associated with shipbuilding, because it's outdoor work. As well, welding. You know, welding is a really safe industry, and I give a lot of credit to the Canadian Welding Bureau and what they do in terms of making sure people understand health and safety and training importance. But you do have the risk of burns to your eyes, eye injuries, and exposure to various gases and fumes. But the key is understanding those risks, and then as employers and as employees, regulators and stakeholders working together to try to create a safer and a healthier workforce. So I just thought I'd pull back a little bit and tell you where I see the role of the federal government. Even if we have seen a decrease in injuries or in deaths in the past number of years, it really is because the amount of work that's being done by people like yourself. It is a thoughtful approach, and it is a direct approach, and it is a lot of effort, and you're to be commended greatly for your continuing attention to health and safety. So that's why I like what the theme of this year's week is, and it's, are you as safe as you think? Because quite simply, we're never as safe as we think. So we can't ever relax, and we must continuously be vigilant about what's going on around us in health and safety in our workplace and even in our home life. And one thing that is going to happen in the coming years, and I've heard a number of people talking about it, especially at the Day of Mourning on April 28th, is technology changes will change the nature of our work in the coming years. And we have to be aware of new dangers that may arise as a result of it. So it's not just about understanding the way things are now, it's about anticipating what the future is. Think about what could go wrong, and then taking the precautions. So business leaders in the room, let me tell you this. The reason why you should be interested in health and safety is because the expense of prevention is trivial when you compare it to the terrible cost of workplace accidents and illnesses. Absolutely trivial. It is worth your time and your effort and your money to invest in health and safety. So why am I here as part of the government approach? Well, we do take the point of view that this is a shared responsibility. I say to business, it's very important for you to make sure that you're investing in health and safety. Workers, be responsible for your area, know your rights, know your responsibilities. And in the government, we get to work with everybody, employers, employees, unions, provinces, territories, and experts in the field to help raise awareness. But I have one other aspect that I think is really important, and I've talked about it the past number of years. And as a member of Parliament and as a minister, I do have the ability to have a microphone on occasion that gives me a larger audience than I would necessarily only in this room. And I really think we have to make sure that we're having a health and safety discussion in the workplace with families. You know, last year when I was in Toronto and I gave the opening remarks, I had a story about my two sons. They're 8 and 11, and they're 8 and 11-year-old boys, so they get into everything and they get up to anything, and you never quite know what's going to happen. And I told a story about going to our barn that we had just purchased a house. I'm very much more happy to tell you that I don't have a story that is safety related about my 8-year-old and my 11-year-old after successfully living in the country for the past year around axes, around chainsaws, around all those things. I don't have a health and safety story. So I feel pretty good about it. And that's the kind of thing that I think we need to have conversations with in terms of families. Families need to know, moms and dads, kids, teenagers, whoever's going out to work for the first time or even in a continuous. It doesn't have to be your first job. It could be your second, third job, whatever. We change so many times in our life. But I'd love it if moms and dads, grandparents, whoever it is who's talking to the kid as they walk out the door, tells them that you have a voice to speak up. If you have a danger or a hazard in your workplace, you have a voice. There are ways in which to make sure that you don't put yourself in danger. Because at the end of the day, it can save the life of yourself or of a colleague. It's not just about looking out for yourself, it's about looking out for the people around you as well, too. I don't know if Josh, you're here. So you were a superstar on Canada AM this morning. I don't know if anybody caught his interview at 6:30. I'm on Eastern time, so I was up early and I was watching. It may have been even 6 a.m. But you were a superstar, and I know you're going to talk later, and I don't want to steal any of your thunder. But one thing Josh said that really got me this morning, and I hope you YouTube that interview, because I think that's what parents need to see. Josh was talking about a decision he had made in an incident, and he said that he felt in his gut something was wrong. And that's the thing we need to tell our kids. If you feel in your gut that something is wrong, pull up and stop. And I really appreciate what you said today, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. And by the way, that video of what you did in terms of doing what you did on the sit-ski was pretty sick. And I have to say it scared the heck out of me. My kids aren't into skiing right now, but I'm going to show them what you can do in a safe and controlled environment. But in the Labour Department, what we can do, other than what I can do and what Andrew can do as members of Parliament and talking to our constituents and taking every opportunity to talk about health and safety, we can give tools. We can give tools to employees. We can give tools to employers. We can put them on the website. We can work through the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety. Steve Horvath is here, our president and CEO. Just to help people utilize these tools and know that there are resources out there and that you're not going blind into a workplace and that it does make sense to ensure your own safety. At the end of the day, there's no point in having safety rules if you don't observe them. And there's no point in having safety equipment if you don't wear it. You know, our government recognizes that you can't have a strong economy without a healthy workplace and a strong and safe workplace. Preventing injury and illness is an important building block to a more prosperous Canada, but that requires leadership on all levels. So the governments as well as employers and employees, and as I said, families as well too. So in closing, I'd just like to thank, amongst others, Canadian Society of Safety Engineering, the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety, Shirley, Threads of Life, and all the great work that you're doing with your Steps for Life. I'm wearing my Steps for Life yellow ribbon today, everybody. And everybody who continues their involvement in the North American Occupational Health and Safety Week. So for anybody out there who's not an expert in the field, I really hope you take a look at what the opportunities are to give health and safety a priority and more thought in your workplace. And if you do that, we will have accomplished an awful lot in this week. So thank you very much. And you know what? Don't only think about it this week. Think about it all year round and have a chat with any youngsters that may be going out for their first jobs this year. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.